Hello everyone, my name is Jin and welcome to my archive. Today I'll be discussing Wuthering Waves 2.2 story. What we'll be mainly focusing on is the lore and a section specifically dedicated to Cartethyia's theme songs, Chains of Oath, Echoes of Promise, and With Glory I Shall Fall. Then we will end it with some details that I missed in the first experience of the story and my thoughts of what to come. Before we begin, I'd like to say that I was wrong regarding who the Sentinel and who the Threnodian was, which is perfectly fine, because that's the fun part of theory crafting. The only part I got right was that the statue is a form of a hippocampus, a fusion of the Sentinel and Threnodian. First, let's clear up some confusion regarding the timeline of the entirety of Renacita revolving around the Dark Tide, the Threnodian, the Sentinel, and Cartethyia. Again, this is my personal interpretation, so I could be wrong. To begin, we have the first Dark Tide, which happened during the war against the Threnodian. Imperator used parts of its power to create a light that repelled the Dark Tide and gave it to Napoli. With its power weakened, Leviathan assimilated with Imperator, which was part of Imperator's plan to learn about the Threnodian and how to destroy it. Leviathan's assimilation with Imperator allowed it to access Imperator's memories and learn about resonators. Thus, it seeked a way to create its own resonator, which resulted in Cartethyia being born. As a failsafe, Imperator left Turvin with the Phasalia family, so in the future, a maiden strong enough will be able to resonate with it. This was the origins of the legend of the Blessed Maiden. Cartethyia grew and was trained under the Order's teachings before being crowned the Blessed Maiden, given the name Fleur-de-Lis and becoming the resonator of both Leviathan and Imperator. Just a note that the Order is the Order of the Deep, the one that worships the fusion of Imperator and Leviathan, and not the one that only worships Imperator. The day she became the Blessed Maiden was the day of the second Dark Tide. Fleur-de-Lis then discovered that she resonated with the false divinity and opposed the Threnodian's order. As she was fighting against Leviathan, Cantarella resonated with Turvin and achieved the second resonance awakening, becoming the Blessed Maiden of Imperator. This would have triggered the failsafe that should have rendered Imperator, Leviathan, and Fleur-de-Lis asunder, breaking the universal law that beings such as Sentinels and Threnodians cannot have more than one resonator. However, Cantarella saw the struggle of Fleur-de-Lis battling against the false divinity and decided to not become the resonator of Imperator, and gave away the power of the second resonance awakening to Imperator. This allowed Imperator to temporarily regain control over the hippocampus body and compelled Fleur-de-Lis to strike it, causing the hippocampus physical form to be no more and allowed Leviathan to assimilate into Fleur-de-Lis' body. This was when Fleur-de-Lis split her powers, splitting herself that wanted to live, Leviathan, and Imperator, using her memories as a vessel to create the seal that contained the Dark Tide and sealing herself in the central tower of Avenolium. This is also when Cartethyia, the one that we know and traveled with, was born. Her duty, working on pure instincts with no memories, was to search for a being that would be able to kill her. While Cartethyia searched, Fleur-de-Lis endured. For the next 20 years, she fought against the Leviathan's corruption and contained the Dark Tide, hoping for someone to relieve her of her duty through her own destruction. Moving on, let's talk about the theme song. I'm not really that knowledgeable about music, but I've been in love with these two songs ever since I listened to them. I'm sure Marco Meatball has a better analysis than me, but I want to take a stab at it lore-wise. This is all just speculation on my part, so I could be wrong. First, for the song Chains of Oath, Echoes of Promise, it is more slow and strong in the way it's trying to convey its emotions. This song is purely from Cartethyia's perspective, and we can see that in the story. When Fleur-de-Lis questioned if she would betray herself, and Cartethyia replied that it's not betrayal, fits perfectly with the first verse. The first two lines of the verse symbolize her determination, while the last two lines symbolize the doubts she had throughout the story. Then she reaffirmed her determination again with the chorus, which happens when she strikes the shield with Haltir. The best part was when the lyrics, "There's no turning back this time," played as she starts showing signs of overclocking, pushing herself further. As she continued to push herself, the doubts came back, which is why the question started to come back in the lyrics of the song. As her power started to overcome the barrier, the lines that symbolize hope came into play. Then, the instrumental break accompanying the break of her sword was honestly chef's kiss. As Rover caught her, the line of determination came back as we see what Cartethyia was determined to do, to ensure Rover's future. As she reforged Haltir using herself as the blade, the line, "There's no turning back this time," accompanied it, a line symbolizing her self-sacrifice. Here's the interesting thing though, right? I believe that this entire song, Chains of Oath, Echoes of Promise, can also be seen in the livelier theme song with Glory I Shall Fall. However, it will only take a small portion of the entire song, but it makes perfect sense why it's only that portion. The song with Glory I Shall Fall is sung with 3 perspectives. The first one actually doesn't matter, but it's a neat detail I'd like to note. The first verse is sung as if it was a bard reciting a story. In this case, I'd like to believe that's sung by Sakona.
Could you spare a second, slow your pace, listen to the story of Cartethyia. She called for freedom, she yearned for legend, dreaming of splendor.
After this, their perspective changes, and it's now sung by Cartethyia. If you were to see the second line, that it is questioning if she is the Blessed Maiden. This chorus established the doubts, determination, and hope she has throughout her story. The second verse is the most important to why I believe it's sung by Cartethyia, because it feels like she's talking about fleur-de-lis in the 4th and 5th line. Next, we have the second upcoming chorus. This is where I believe the Chains of Oath, Promise of Echoes can be seen, as it has the same beginning 2 lines as the pre-chorus. The ending, however, fits perfectly when Cartethyia becomes Rover's blade. Then we have a perspective swap in the bridge as Cartethyia disappears and only fleur-de-lis remain. This part is when fleur-de-lis recounts the events that happened to her for the past 20 years. The chorus now refers to fleur-de-lis's determination, her unwillingness to succumb to the Thenodians' corruption, unwilling to accept the fate Leviathan placed on her, and her determination to die. The ending of the song now asks a question, will it be true? Referencing the first pre-chorus of Cartethyia, asking if she will become the maiden who is blessed. Then, what happens at the end? Imperator says she is worthy to bear the title Blessed Maiden. Alright, now here's a secret 4th perspective that can only be seen in the story. This part of the song is played after fleur-de-lis pushed Rover away, can also be seen as if it was sung from Rover's perspective. Only in the story though. I hope you like my interpretation of the song that pertains to the lore. I've been obsessed with it and wanted to share my thoughts. Moving on, let's discuss some small details that could have been missed. At the beginning, we saw through Cartethyia's eyes, in which she sees in black and white and does not see Rover's face at all. However, near the end when overclocking, she was able to see color and see Rover's face. Another detail is on fleur-de-lis's sword. With the community's help, it translates to sacrifice is reward, which honestly fits fleur-de-lis's character. One other detail that could be easily missed is the stained glass when Rover stabbed fleur-de-lis. You can see a shattered part of Leviathan. This makes me believe that Rover did a lot of damage to the Leviathan. However, do note that in the end, Imperator did say the Thenodians cannot be undone while civilization endure. This means that the Thenodian cannot die while civilization exists. Another note is that Leviathan learned about resonators from Imperator's memories. So, the thought of Geshullin coming back as Overthrax's resonator does sound amazing, and I hope it does happen. But I honestly don't know if it will. So, what's next in store for the story in Renacita? I believe we still have to take care of some loose ends, and they all tie together. Now that it is revealed that the Order of the Deep is worshipping a false divinity, what's going to happen? I believe there will be a reform, maybe with Cartethyia leading the charge, a civil war perhaps. Then we have Fractsidus. Fractsidus is currently helping the Order, so they might be tied to that part of the story as well, if there's going to be a civil war of some kind. Lastly, we have Leviathan. I do not believe it's dead, and either the Order or Fractsidus will have a part to play in this resurrection. I hope that you enjoyed this little discussion about the 2.2 main story quest. I really want to share my thoughts and love for Cartethia's theme songs. I'm looking forward to what the future patches have in store for us. Also, as of writing the script, I just saw banner art for Zani on the official social media, and my love for her has increased immensely. She uses a greatsword. My Monster Hunter blood is screaming right now because I'm a greatsword main. Well, former greatsword main turned into hunting horn main. I won't be maxing her resonance chain or refining her weapon though because I don't have the money for that. P.S. If someone could make me an MV for With Glory I Shall Fall that is synced with the story and parts of how I described it, I'd love you for that. Anyways, this is Jin checking out. I hope to see y'all in the next video. Bye bye!